Hello again, Maverick traders, and welcome out to another market recap. This is Ankit from Maverick Currencies, and let's begin the market coverage. It's a Tuesday, April the 11th. Let's talk about what happened in the markets today, and most importantly, talk about the upcoming 24 hours as we head into a very busy day with lots of news events on the docket. So let's just look at the market performance today, and overall, you can see that the markets were pretty much range bound for the most part. S&P is mostly unchanged, VT slightly up. Crypto continues to outperform, but again, a smaller gain there. And the biggest move really we have is in the oil market. But outside of that, you can see the markets are just holding steady. Overall, the market sentiment remains bullish. As you can see in this chart of S&P 500, we are just making this little base here. So depending on what kind of number comes out tomorrow, if it comes out much lower than expected, I wouldn't be surprised that we get a big breakout right above this 41-48 range. So this is just a consolidation phase, but overall, you got to keep in mind is that markets are in an upward trend in this little shorter term. So we continue to look for those risk-on trades. Now, looking at the World Stock Index, we are seeing very similar price action, a little bit underperformance as we are just hanging around this area, but overall, the setup looked very similar. We had a nice run, and we just consolidating in this little range here. So a catalyst is what we need to break out of this range. And talking about breakout, let's take a look at the crypto market, and we finally have a breakout. I mean, we have talked about this level for some time here, and as we are seeing a big breakout, this is where we are seeing a participation across the board. We are seeing Bitcoin again continues to outperform, but now we are seeing other coins kind of following the same path. So Bitcoin did break the 30,000 level again after 1 year. This is again a big deal, and looks like momentum is a bit on the upside for the crypto markets here. But again, tomorrow anything can change as we get the CPI report. So let's talk about performance here, both in the crypto market and the currency market. So we are continuing to see the Bitcoin continues to be in this outperformance across the board. So overall, that's the most bullish looking chart there. Ethereum has been following the same path. Did see a bit of a pullback here, but overall, outside of the Bitcoin, we are seeing Ethereum being the second best cryptocurrency. So overall, these are the areas that we need to continue to focus on. Now let's talk about currency market, and we had a decent active day today. I mean, look at the big move in the New Zealand dollar. I mean, down 0.63%, and also breaking a key support area on the currency basket. So we'll have to take a look at a lot of these Kiwi crosses. But outside of that, I must say this European currency, Swiss franc and euro, continues to be in this outperformance here, especially the Swiss franc. It's not really acting as or moving on that safe haven status. I mean, overall, what we have seen is Swiss franc continues to outperform and now sitting at all-time highs. So that's really where the outperformance is. But everything else, euro and pound, remains in an uptrend. We're also seeing a nice little move in the Canadian dollar today. So these are two back-to-back days where CAD has done well. We are heading into the Bank of Canada rate statement tomorrow, but overall, the sentiment looks a little bit bullish in the CAD in the short term, and the weakness just continues to be in the Aussie and Kiwi. Outside of that, you can see that the dollar and the yen were in a very small range, and this is how we sum it up. The dollar trade, it's not moving aggressively either way, so we have to wait for tomorrow, get us a catalyst to break out of this range here. But outside of that, I think there's definitely better currency pairs to be had here as you pair up euro against the Kiwi or Swiss franc against the Kiwi. There's definitely a lot more movement there. Now let's take a look at the market outlook, and overall, we're sitting at a 1.5 to a 2. I think overall you got to keep in mind we are up against a key resistance level, but at the same time we are not weak. We are actually in this little stronger upward momentum. So the sentiment remains bullish. So we just want to continue with the between 1 and 2 outlook for the equity markets. Now let's talk about calendar, because this is where anything can change, and that's what we have to be prepared for, is both the worst and the best case scenario. So the US CPI that comes out tomorrow, I mean, look at that. They're expecting much weaker number month over month, both the core CPI and a drop in the year over year number. So we are expecting a much weaker report. And so far, we haven't really seen much indication that we can see a surprise tomorrow, but if there's a big move to be happen tomorrow, that would be if there's a big surprise either on the upside or to the downside. If it come more in line with expectation, I would say that these numbers seems to be getting already priced into the market. So we need to look for the shock value to get a big move. After that, we have the Bank of Canada rate statement. Again, they're expected to hold rates 4.50%. Again, we are not in this environment where we can expect any central banks to cut rates. So this is going to be a hold, but the question would be in their statement, and they have a press conference coming later tomorrow as well. So this is something we need to pay attention to as the CAD cross. It seems to be picking up some steam here. Later tomorrow afternoon, we have the Fed FOMC meeting minutes. This is, again, will be important to watch for if you're trading the dollar crosses. And then tomorrow night, we have the Aussie employment report. So you can see that tomorrow is the day to be active. So we're looking to be active around all these news events. I think there'll be good trading opportunities. So let's do a quick currency analysis and take a look at where the velocity score is and where we need to focus on. And right now, it looks pretty clear that we have 4 currencies that are actually doing really well. CAD, Pound, Swiss franc, and Euro. Especially these 3 currencies is really where the money has been going into. On the other hand, Yen has been a lot more on the weaker side, so -2 there. And here we are, Kiwi as a -2. So remember, we are not really seeing these movements being based on the correlation. Right now, this is all about relative strength and weakness. So we are seeing divergence taking place between Aussie and Kiwi, and Aussie and dollar both sitting at a 0 here. So whenever you have a +2 with a -2, these are the areas that we need to focus on. And for this time, I mean, we have Pound Kiwi, we have Euro Kiwi, we have Kiwi Swiss franc, and same thing goes with a lot of these yen crosses. So let's take a look at possible trades ahead and talk about what looks the best on a technical basis. No, so let's start with the Kiwi basket, and I want to show how important this level of support is because we have seen a massive rally from October all the way till December, and we are just seeing this falling apart here. And we have been kind of going back and forth. If we just zoom into this chart here, we have been going back and forth between the support area, and we have finally a break. So with each break, what we need to see is maybe small bases to short into or bear rallies to short into. So in the shorter term 4-hour chart, I mean, it looks extended here. This is clear support area. We broke this area. What I will be looking for in the next 24 hours is either a little bear rally or a basing pattern to short into. But it seems like Kiwi is ready to be traded based on, directionally onto the downside. Now, outside of that, Australian dollar is just basing here. So both of these currencies looks terrible. Right now, Kiwi is the one that's moving. And if you start to see Aussie move, again, we can jump into those Aussie pairs as well. Aussie is sitting right at the support area, as you can see. Just like the Kiwi, this is a very important level of support. And we have tested this level. I mean, going back to 2020, 2021, 2022. This is a very important level of support. So if you're looking for a big breakout, I think this is the area we need to really watch out for. But every time we are at this critical support area, this is where reversals can happen. And we need to be very careful for that. I mean, you can see that this happened just 2021 where it did break below and then quickly snap back above. So right now, it's just hovering around it. I think this is just making a little low base here, and we'll eventually see a break. Now, outside of those 2 currencies, I mean, we have the Canadian dollar, which I know we have been very mixed with because of the lack of consistency here. In the shorter term 4-hour chart, you can see the momentum is picking up a little bit ahead of this Bank of Canada rate statement. We still have the resistance level to clear out. Once we can break above this resistance level, we have a much better area for this. And remember, this was really shorted in the last quarter last year. So, I mean, there's definitely room for this to run, but we have seen a lot of sideways movement here. So just keep in mind that we have a technical resistance right here. If we can get above that, I think I'll be a lot more interested in the CAD. And let's talk about the things that are moving and trending. We have the British pound. You can see it's nicely trending here. We got the moving averages going higher. And this is, again, a good setup here. It's not an aggressive bull, but it is it is moving onto the upside. So this is where if it's pulling back like this here or like this here, again, those are just a buying opportunity. So I don't like this on a short side, but I would want to buy those dips. Now, Swiss franc, let's talk about this currency. And I mean, let's go on a monthly chart because we are sitting at all-time highs here on the currency basket. So this is a spectacular move in the Swiss franc that we have seen. Now, daily chart, you can see we are back at this resistance level before this Credit Suisse collapse that came along and brought the Swiss franc down. You can see that this is now back to this previous high here. So at this point, I would say this is more like a continuation pattern rather than a double top. If it does break above and fall below, then this could act as a double top right here. But right now, it looks like it's breaking out higher. 4-hour chart, you can see there's just no slowdown. There's no reversal signs here. So as long as it doesn't give us those reversal signs, I think this can be continued to be traded towards the upside. Now, same thing happening with the euro. A little bit relative weakness compared to the Swiss franc, but they're all moving in the same direction. I mean, we got a nice little breakout in the euro as well off this resistance area. So again, euro looks like it wants to go higher as well. And what do we want to pair with? Here we are with the yen. Yen has been definitely a difficult trade because of a lot of back and forth that we are seeing in this currency. Again, this will be another currency to watch tomorrow because if we continue to see a risk on rally, this can easily fall back towards March lows. And if the markets fall after the numbers or the meeting minutes, I think then the yen would be taking a bit of a step back here. But again, we are right at the support area here. We can get back towards the low here. And lastly, the dollar. I mean, dollar looks uninteresting to me here because you can see that the dollar has been on a decline since the beginning of March all the way till April here. So in the shorter term, it is picking up some relative strength, but at the same time, it's still trending lower. So again, this is not a clear bull or a bear to me, and I would want to see either a big breakout to the upside or a breakdown towards the downside here in order for me to get excited about the US dollar here. So technically speaking, there's a lot more other currencies that we need to pay attention to that are moving and there are good trading opportunities as well. Now, let's also take a quick glance at the bond market. I've talked about the bond market lately. Again, this is a good indicator to see where the risk is, where things are heading. And you can see that right now in the shorter term, again, bond yields are moving up a little bit. And this is in the grand scheme of things, this is still sort of, hovering around the support area. There's a lot of messiness here. But again, after the next rate hike, I think the expectation is for the Fed to hold rates. And if we take a look at the Fed tool here, the countdown, we're looking for expectation of another rate hike in the next meeting by 25 basis points. So after that, it will be a totally different game. And right now, I think the bond market is holding in there because they're expecting to have that little raise there. But after that, I think the next level of movement would be on more to the downside. Maybe so the yields are falling, and we are seeing the dollar is kind of following the similar trend here, catching a little bit of lift here. But overall, the selling the rallies in the dollar has been working out much better than buying those dips. So that's where we are. And as far as the pairing goes, I think you can take a look at a lot of these dollar crosses and they look interesting. Look at dollar CAD. We did pull back, bear rally. I like this to short right up below that 134 area, and that's where the 200 moving average is. Now let's go back, and 200 moving average held in again after for almost a year. I mean, going back to August last year, this has been acting very nicely onto the upside. So this will be again a critical support area for the dollar CAD. Now, same thing goes with the Eurodollar. A lot of these dollar crosses seems like they're ready to break out. And here we are, Eurodollar, with a nice support at 110. But if it does break above that, we can get excited about it. But for now, this is trading in this little range here. So at the same time, we're moving averages just converging up. So we definitely like this more on a breakout trade here. But we need confirmation for that. And same thing, pound dollar. Pound dollar is right at the resistance here. So again, this is one of those pairs that I need a confirmation on, because we did pull back right below that range here. So not really ready to pull the trigger on this one yet. Dollar Swiss franc. I had a lot of questions about dollar Swiss franc, and I mean, take a look at where we are at dollar Swiss franc. I mean, the lowest level that we saw was back in 2021 when it hit like 89 or 88, but that time dollar was actually really weak. This time around, it's actually the Swiss franc being very, very strong. As you can go back in time and say, well, these are uncharted territories. We haven't really seen Swiss franc or dollar Swiss franc being down as much. So these are the areas that continues to perform, and until it really changes its trend, we want to continue moving in that direction. And right now we are sitting right at the support. So a lot of these dollar crosses are sitting at support. But at the same time, we can see the same thing for yen crosses too. I mean, here we are looking at euro yen right at the resistance here. We have the CAD yen, which is again trying to recover up to the upside here. So a lot of the yen crosses are also rallying here. So let's take a look at what dollar yen is doing, because that will give us an idea. And this is the only pair, only dollar cross that actually looks like it's ready to break out in favor of the US dollar, and that's the dollar yen. Now we can see that dollar yen has been trading between 134 down to 131. It's been trading in a wide range. If we can break above this area, we can easily get towards that 137. But again, that would be for the strong US dollar scenario. So tomorrow, we'll see what happens. This is the only pair that I do like on dollar strength. But outside of that, I think a lot of the crosses are ready to move on the other direction on dollar weakness. So there's definitely this tug and pull that we're getting in these bond market versus what the dollar is doing. So we'll find out which side wins, and that will be as soon as tomorrow when we get the data. So that'll be the focus. Looking to trade around these events. So make sure if you are trading, keep the powder dry tonight. No need to be jumping on trades. Wait till tomorrow, and there'll be a much better trading environment tomorrow till Friday. So that's the game plan. Thanks for joining. If you have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, happy trading. Cheers.